In today's video, we're going to be going over the latest Square Enix blog entry on Final Fantasy VII Rebirth. I'm going to be just going through it and giving out my opinions. So if you want to hear my opinions, then this is the video for you. And it gives you an opportunity to throw your opinions in the comment section down below as well. If it isn't your kind of video, then I'll leave a link down below so you can read the blog yourself. It's been up for a while now, so I'm sure that we've all had a chance to kind of digest it. But I just want to have some off-the-cuff thoughts. And I do have a big brain theory on Protorelics, so we'll see how that goes. So if you want to skip to that section, feel free to do so. So with that all being said, what is up guys, Jen here, hope you're all doing well. Welcome back to the channel. As always, got you covered with timestamps, so if there's a certain section of this blog you want to skip ahead to, feel free to do so. All I ask is for you to support the channel and hit the thumbs up button. So let's just change scenes straight off the bat, and we are greeted with this nice kind of picture of Kalm. This is in-game and it looks fantastic. Let me move my face out the way for a minute so we can just truly appreciate what we have here. Look at that, it looks fantastic. But I'm back to my face. So we're going to scroll down this blog, and essentially we're going over, like, they dropped a video which was a recap video, but we still have questions because there are certain scenes that we got in one of the trailers previously which are different angles of the final fight of Final Fantasy VII Remake. Spoilers, but I'm sure you're here for a certain reason to talk about Rebirth, so you should know about the remake ending. But we're still wondering where that kind of recap falls into Rebirth. So the question is still up in the air. My kind of like off the cuff guess to where that may be, where we may see those different angles, I think we'll see it in game somewhere, or maybe the recap video that we get in Rebirth is different to what they've put on YouTube. Who knows? I really don't know. But let's read this. Final Fantasy VII Rebirth launches in just a few short months on February 29th, 2024, and we're excited to be able to show you more on what to expect. But before we look to where we're going, how about where we've been? We just released a story so far recap video, which will be also viewable from the game's menu. Okay, that's answered my question. It's going to be viewable in game. I still think that maybe we'll have those cutscenes that we haven't seen yet somewhere in the game, maybe. I don't know. Maybe like a... I really don't know. I really don't know, and I don't want to guess because I'll probably be wrong. But it's narrated by none other than the Red 13 and retells the events from Final Fantasy VII Remake. Perfect if you want a refresher ahead of the new game or plan to dive right into the series with Rebirth. So you can take a look there. I'll also leave a link down below, so if you want to give it a watch, then do that. So next up, let's look at some of the things you'll see in Final Fantasy VII Rebirth, including some regions of the world, new characters, combat, and more. So regions of the world is comprised of multiple regions. I think we're going to be going 1, 2, 3, 4, maybe 5. And let me just go through that. So we've got grasslands, which is Kalm, Midgar, Chocobo Farm, and then we've got Junon region, which is going to be Junon, Fort Condor, maybe the Random Man's Cave if he makes an appearance in this game. Then we go over to like the Gold Saucer region, so we've got Corel and Costa del Sol, and then we've got the Cosmo Canyon region, which we could probably include Nibelheim, and if we go in there, Rocket Town. And then because we're going to be ending in the Forgotten Capital, of course we're going to have the North region as well. So if you have a different opinion on where we will be visiting, let me know in the comment section below. But Kalm! Let's have a look and just appreciate this this thing again. It looks really, really nice, and it makes me feel like, oh, can we go down this road? Obviously the Mako pipe there is from Midgar powering Kalm, but this looks absolutely glorious. And we can see just on the right hand side, which is just over here to me, is where we're going to be coming out to go towards Chocobo Farm. So I'm interested to see if we could be visiting the left hand side. But a Halcyon hamlet kept safe from the outside world by a sturdy stone wall. Though it lacks a reactor of its own, it thrives to a steady supply of Mako piped in from the metropolis of Midgar, which is visible from atop the town's famous Clocktower. So that tells me that maybe we can go to the top of the Clocktower. Will we find Vincent's Peacemaker somewhere in Kalm? Probably not. I think we might get a nod to Vincent somewhere, and we'll go into that in just a little bit. But Yeah, maybe we can go to the top of the clock tower. So next is the Mythril mine, once a bustling mine that connects to the grasslands with Junon. Though once prized for its rich mithril deposits, the quarry fell into disuse after Shinra developed a superior mineral of their own, and the miners that once worked in its tunnels have been replaced with monsters. That doesn't mean that the monsters are now working there, it just means it's riddled with monsters, and we're going to be having a lot of battles across there. Now, looking at this graphic and a few scenes that we've had from the trailer, it also looks like obviously the Mythril mine links the grasslands region to Junon, but there is like little signboards. Do you know what you see in like museums or like any kind of like a safari park where it gives you a synopsis of what you're looking at? I see a few of these boards here, so it tells me that maybe while the Mythril mines were active, we could have tourists go through these many aeons ago in this world of Final Fantasy VII, where they can have a look and learn about the Mythril. Or maybe it's just there as a device for us to learn more about Mythril, because maybe, just maybe, Mythril may be important a little later on the game. Maybe there's an ultimate weapon we want, or maybe there's something that we want to trade into a certain guy that lives near Gongaga that, you know, might give us a limit break or something for Aerith. Who knows? But I'm sure we'll be revisiting the Mythril mines a little bit later in the story, as well as going through it in the story. Let me know what your thoughts are in the comments down below. So new characters. Next up, we'll introduce a few new characters you'll meet on your journey. We have Broden, voice actor Mythril, the owner and operator of the inn at Kalm. He bears a grudge against Shinra and offers to help Cloud and his friends escape their would-be corporate captures. His gaunt appearance may be due to his recent bout with an unknown illness. This is interesting. I've seen a few things on the Twitters referring that, but let's just kind of like hold it, you know, bring it back a little bit. He is going to be the guy that's going to give us the escape route to escape Kalm. We've seen it in the trailer. It's where the grasslands opens up to us. So I feel like we will be revisiting this character a little bit later. Maybe there's some side stories we can learn more about him, or side quests, should I say, that we'll be doing. But the unknown illness, I've seen a few things that Vincent's dad, I think, and then there's a scientist that worked at Shinra. Maybe he's a scientist that's been exposed to something. Some people are going out there and saying it's early signs of geostigma, but I don't think that makes sense, because geostigma was a thing when like after Meteor Fall kind of happened. But we will see. My hot take, or my quick guess to how he may be related, I think it might be to do with Vincent, but not like what's already been written in canon with other characters. I think it's a new character introduced, and I think maybe we might come back here with Vincent. I don't know. Depends how they tackle having the party members that we can't control, because they've said that we can go back and forth whenever we want. And you think about back to Remake, when we got Red 13, we obviously were following like a linear path, so we couldn't take Red 13 back down to the slums. But it's going to be a little bit different here, where we might be able to take our guest party members to previous locations, so maybe it might tie in here and there. Who knows? But we're moving on to Rhonda. The voice actor is G.K. Bowles. Mayor and sheriff of Junon. Her home is once a prosperous fishing village, fell into decline after Shinra constructed a military fortress overhead and a deep-sea macro reactor offshore. Despite Cloud and Fran's status as alleged terrorist, Rhonda still allows them to pass through her town. So let's quickly, there's not much to see from there. We got a good kind of introduction to her from the gameplay clips when content creators got to play the game and do the Junon demo. Many footages of this out there. Junon being a fishing village is what I predicted. I still believe that Yuffie is trying to get to Wutai, and she is using a boat. Maybe Priscilla has said, oh, you can take one of the boats. We've got plenty of boats, and that's how that kind of backstory happens to where we get the Bottomswell fight. So I'm liking the lore on the lower Junon being like a fishing village, and maybe they really do need to fend for themselves. As for Rhonda herself, obviously it just adds to that lore. I'm sure she'll be a character we will be going back to kind of get more quests along the way once we return to Junon. I think that's about it. So let's have a look at Priscilla, the voice actor Reese Warren, a cheerful young girl who lives in Junon. Often seen swimming with the dolphins she trains, the offshore macro reactor has contaminated the surrounding waters Priscilla for the safety of her dolphin friend, and other aquatic features. I feel like this is going to be a main stake of like why Under Junon is struggling because of that reactor. And it was interesting that it said here that it's like offshore. Obviously, I would say in the OG FF7 it's directly connected. Well, though we do have to go like under like a water tunnel. Maybe they'll expand that a little bit. But we can see that this is causing a problem for the waters. And I think that we're going to be seeing some like side quests relating to that, and maybe we have to go out and fight some aquatic creatures that have been exposed to Mako. So moving on to the Chocobo farm crew, and we have Billy, voice actor Paul Castro Jr., grandson of Bill, owner of Chocobo Ranch in the grasslands. Having lost his parents at a young age, he and his sister were raised by their grandfather. This young ranch hand kindly offers to teach Cloud and company the ropes of Chocobo wrangling on the condition that they patronize his sister's shop. Nearly lost it there, but it's nice to see that these characters that we literally get a few lines of in the OG, or if we don't even talk to them at all, are getting fully fleshed kind of like backstories and more characterization and exploring them in more depth. Absolutely love it. And before we go into the Chocobo crew here, we'll read about Chloe as well. So voice actor is Trinity Bliss, Billy's younger sister. She runs a shop on the ranch where she sells crafting materials and other curios. Warm and kind-hearted, she engaged politely with Cloud and company and is grateful for their patronage. At the same time, she's worried about her brother's fixation on making money. I see side quests, I see side stories. Just reading that, it's nice to see that we are getting it flushed out. Chocobo Farm is going to be very important. I believe that I'm going to stick with what I said about the Chocobos. Obviously, I can't remember the character, the Chocobo's name that we go, but I know that the black Chocobo that we have in the Junon section has a different name. I should imagine that the kind of teal colored Chocobo will have another name, and then maybe the golden Chocobo, maybe there is going to be another Chocobo that will have another name, and it's all going to relate to these Chocobo ranches. And I do believe that once we've got all of those Chocobo ranches, we'll be going back to the Chocobo ranch and they'll be all doing that Chocobo dance. That's what I think, because I think there's 4 different colored Chocobos. There's 4 Chocobos that dance in the OG. I also think in Ever Crisis you need 4 Chocobos for them to get to do the dance as well. So that's what I think, and it's really nice. I'm really excited that all the side quests are just going to be absolutely huge, and we'll be seeing more of that as we go further down in this blog post. But now we are moving on to combat, and we're going to be looking at some of the combat abilities. So we're starting off with Red 13 and Aerith, and we're just going to be looking at the basic attacks for Red 13. So Red 13 slashes at foes with his sharp claws. Hold down the button to unleash a wide range of attack that help build the ATB quickly. I think Red 13 is going to be quite the character to mess around with and really explore and dive into, and be a lot of fun. Abilities. Red 13 boasts a vast array of skills, from lightning fast-paced physical strikes to range magical attacks. Stardust Ray conjures an exploding orb of light that scorches all foes caught in the blast, and his unique ability, Vengeance Mode. Block incoming attacks to fill the Vengeance Gorge and unleash that energy to enter Vengeance Mode, enhancing his physical attacks and his evasive prowess. Siphon Fang delivers a powerful blow while absorbing some of the enemy's HP, all without expending ATB. You know, I'm just excited. I'm not, when it comes to combat and diving into deep, I'm not the guy that can really give you much insight. I'm just really excited to dive in and explore it for myself. And just looking at these images of Red 13, really excited to see what he brings to the table and what we can actually do with the guy. So Aerith, Ward Shift, a unique ability. Aerith can instantly warp to any sigils she has created, allowing her to move about the field with ease and maximize the impact of her magic. Now that is nice, because I'm playing through Remake at the moment because I want to get the Platinum Trophy for the Platinum series. Check it out up there, and, you know, nice little cheap plug there. And Aerith is good to use, but she's very static, so having the ability to kind of freely move her quite quickly around the field can shake things up a bit, and I'm excited to see what that actually kind of brings when it comes to, you know, abilities in battle. So combat, Synergy abilities. Synergy abilities are powerful attacks at which two characters team up to turn the tide of battle. More abilities will unlock as you increase the party level, a numerical expression of how closely knit your team is, and deepen the affinity between party members. Build the synergy gauge by using abilities and unleash a synchronized assault. Here are some examples. Here are some more examples, should I say. And I'm just excited that we got more abilities and they're going to look kick-ass. It's kind of like your speak recently, the triple attacks from Super Mario RPG. Go back a little bit, you got Chrono Trigger, triple attacks and double techs and all that. It's nice to see some of this kind of weaved into the remake trilogy combat, and I'm very excited to see how much it brings. So Cloud launches Tifa towards an enemy to attack in tandem. That's Relentless Rush. Barret Red 13 is Overfang. Barret sends Red 13 flying towards an enemy at high velocity. A lot of these attacks are just throwing your party member at the enemies by the looks of it. We've got synergy skills. Two party members can activate useful abilities without consuming ATB. These commands can be executed while blocking, providing a wide array of beneficial effects. Each pair has a unique set of abilities, deal some damage while others offer support. Here are some examples. Cloud and Aerith, Spellblade. Gather strength, then team up to unleash a charged magical attack. Barret and Cloud, Mad Dash. Team up to charge forward while guarding against incoming attacks. Activate in sequence to trigger a 3-hit combo. So, diving into these combat synergies are going to be incredible. Really interested to see how it works. Does it relate to in-game when it comes to events like the infamous date scene? And if there's going to be other things, and we know that we're getting party member related quests. We've seen a bit of Red 13 having to kind of sniff out something and stuff like that. We see Aerith's quest briefly with the flowers. The flowers, follow the flowers. And really excited to see how it all interweaves with each other, and then we got a skill tree and everything else in between. So setting a summon material, let's grant access to power of the gods. A conjured deity will follow the player's lead and fight enemies automatically, but you can also instruct them to use special abilities before they depart the battlefield. Summons will unleash one final attack that will wreak immense havoc. And we have Kujata here, and just looking at this image, I did kind of try and ask on Twitter if people knew where this location is, and I think the conclusion is near Cosmo Canyon from these banners. We've never seen this kind of these logos, these icons before, so I think we've kind of just narrowed it down to Cosmo Canyon. Interested to know your thoughts down below. But a bona fide deity that charges around the battlefield, wielding the power of fire, ice, and lightning. It throws foes with its enormous horns and unleashes magical attacks that strike even the distant enemy's weaknesses. Really nice. Kujata, why did I say Kujata? Kujata bounds towards foes with reckless abandon and manipulates its elemental affinities to deliver magical attacks. Blazing Horn launches a concentrated burst of fire energy at enemy, blasting them back. Kujata unleashes Try Disaster just before leaving the battlefield, a powerful wide-range attack imbued with the powers of fire, ice, and lightning, sure to hit many foes right where it hurts, potentially wipe them out. Okay, now to the juicy stuff and where I might take a little bit longer to go through, and if you've skipped ahead, I'm hoping that you can kind of come into this kind of theory with me and see where things go with it. So world intel. Chadley enlists your help in deepening his understanding of the world. As you explore various regions, you will uncover new areas rich with treasures and natural wonders. Data points accumulated in your travels can then be spent to develop useful new materia. So, Protorelics. I have been a big advocate of knowing that, being very sure, should I say, 100%, I'm 99.9%, no, 100% Gilgamesh is going to be in Final Fantasy VII, finally, after skipping it. So, I think Protorelics is related to Gilgamesh, and we're just going to read this. And I've been going in and out of theories and what I think might happen, so I'm just going to lay it all on the table. But let's just read this synopsis of Protorelics. Protorelics are artifacts of unknown origin that emit a unique energy signal. These elusive antiquities are hidden throughout the world, but with the aid of activated Remna Wave towers, Chadley should be able to point you in their direction. Be warned, however, they seem to alter space-time and known to cause strange phenomena. Now, I believe, well, first, space-time, we know that's Gilgamesh's gig, right? That's what it's about. He's collecting weapons across the multiverse of Final Fantasies. That's his thing. Either they're the really real thing or they are cheap replicas. And we've seen him in Final Fantasy XII and he was wielding the Buster Sword. So we know at some stage during his travels, he would have gone to the world of Final Fantasy VII to get that replica, because I believe that Buster Sword has 4 holes and it has the kanji of like fake on it, so we know he goes there eventually. But the translation, or how it is in the Japanese, is Protorelic is known as ancient matter, which kind of shake things up a bit, but it's still kind of like ancient matter. It could be anything. To the people in the world of Final Fantasy VII, it is going to be like ancient relics. They don't know what it could be. They don't know it's from a different world. So, what does this comprise of? Let's dive into this picture first. It says defeat the Decoys, which is kind of like, are these fake Butch and crew? Are these real Butch and crew? Are they just kind of like, are they hunting the relics as well? We don't really know yet, and it does kind of mix up what I want to talk about a little bit, but let's just ignore the fact that it says defeat the Decoys and dive into that rabbit hole of what that might mean. We can also see that one of them has the nail bat from Final Fantasy VII Remake, which we got from the kids in doing all the kind of like the quests in Aerith's kind of part of the game. So this is what I'm going to be laying down. I think these proto-relics are either going to be Cloud's weapons and Gilgamesh is collecting them, or we're going to be finding pieces of the weapons. Don't think that makes sense because we're collecting pieces. So the other theory I have is that these are pieces of weapons from other Final Fantasies. Let me just go into it a little bit detail. Right, we find a piece and it is the end of the sword of the Brotherhood from Final Fantasy X. Eventually we build that weapon and we have the Brotherhood. It becomes a key item. Maybe it gives us some kind of buff here or there. We show it to Chadley. He gives us new materia maybe relating to that weapon. We collect all of these weapons and then eventually we get to the final location, but we've been tailed. We've been like, someone else has been searching for these proto-relics as well, and it's Gilgamesh. He takes all of those weapons, and then we have the Gilgamesh fight. I think it's going to be something along those lines. I do think that during this quest, we are going to have nods to previous Final Fantasies in this quest line because of the whole space-time thing. I don't think it has anything related to main story whatsoever. I think this is going to be a very fun side quest, looking at Final Fantasies past, present, and future, and then ending it with Gilgamesh and that epic boss fight, that epic music, and maybe we might finally get the sword for Cloud that is called the Excalibur. Maybe. That's what I'm rolling with. I just think that this is going to be a really nice Easter egg based kind of quest across the world of Final Fantasy VII, hunting down Gilgamesh. Maybe Gilgamesh is hunting us, and it's going to be really fun. I'm sticking to that. I don't think it's going to be related to anything of the lore of Final Fantasy VII at all. Maybe they might add a few things. I know the nail bat's here, and we have Butcher's crew. Maybe kind of Gilgamesh might pull in like kind of visions of things that we've met. Maybe they are decoys, and this is Gilgamesh kind of throwing the distraction so he can get that proto-relic for himself. And instead of us actually getting the proto-relic, we will get weapons like the nail bat, maybe the parasol for Aerith, or the boxing glove for Barrett. Maybe that's how we get all the gimmick weapons in this game. Essentially, we are getting fakes of weapons while Gilgamesh picks up the real prize. I don't know, like the cogs are turning, and I think, do you know what, that last thing that I just said about us picking up the fakes and Gilgamesh picking up the real things is making me feel like that might be the thing now. So let me know what your thoughts are down below. I strongly, I'm going to just stick to my guns and say this is a Gilgamesh quest. And I'm very, very excited to see how we dive in deeper with it. So we're going to move on to Materia and essentially this is related to what we just said of like exploring the world. Assisting Chadley with his world-spanning research will allow you to accrue data points, which can then be spent to develop new materia. Some offer access to spells of multiple affinities, while others grant the use of unique abilities, of which are all sure to provide useful against even the most formidable foes. So very excited to dive in deeper with that. So the world, we've got Chocoboutiques. We've seen this very briefly in like the Junon demos that we've seen. Chocobo ranches are home to Chocoboutiques, stalls that you can freely customize and recolor your Chocobo bird's equipment from head to talon. Gear will impact its performance in the Chocobo races, so find and assemble that suits your style and go for the gold. Again, blowing up a whole side section again. I'm sure there's going to be so much stuff to do in the Chocobo races, so much things to collect. Maybe a few Easter eggs here and there to nods to previous Final Fantasy. I'm sure we're going to have like a black mage and white mage type clothes for the Chocobo. Maybe the Warrior of Light or something like that. Maybe we might get Gilgamesh's outfit once we built Gilgamesh. You know, all of these things are possible, and I'm very, very excited. So this is a nice one as well. Combat styles and difficulty levels. Final Fantasy VII Rebirth offers multiple combat styles and difficulty levels for players of all persuasions. Active mode offers players total control over their character's every move, allowing them to execute advanced strategies. Classic mode automates characters' base actions, giving the player time focus on its ATB selections in the command menu. Easy difficulty allows people to focus on the story rather than battles, while normal provides a reasonable challenge for most players. In the newly added dynamic difficulty, enemies grow stronger as your characters do, perfect for players who crave constant challenge. So essentially, I think we're all going to be like, oh, that works a lot like FF8, and yes, that's what it is. I mean, we got like big open worlds, so this would be like a kind of ideal gameplay difficulty to support that, because I think we could probably grind a little bit more in this game. Do you know how in Remake it was more kind of linear? I keep using the word linear for Remake, but compared to what Rebirth is going to be, yes, Remake was pretty linear, but having these open spaces, the abilities to go back and forth, we are going to be going back to areas where the enemies are going to be very weak against us. So having this dynamic difficult, unless the world changes as we kind of go along, and when we go back to Kalm, maybe later in the game, maybe new enemies are going to be there. But I just think it might happen to be the world enemies or bosses that might appear in the world map. I don't think the fodder enemies themselves will level up, will change over time, but that's what dynamic difficulty brings to the table. So I think I might definitely do a playthrough, be interested to see if there's a trophy tied to that. And then the final treat, please, where's the L? Please enjoy the stunning new art featuring Aerith and the Highwind. Obviously that's akin to the OG, where she never gets to go on the Highwind. Will we have this depiction in-game? Will she be looking up at the Highwind when we're in Junon? Will she ask questions about it? Will she get to go on it? It's not going to change things too much if she does get to go on it, I don't think, personally. It'll be quite gratifying. I could dive into the rabbit hole of talking about what's going to happen to Aerith, but I would like, personally, for her to experience the Highwind of some form. Her just looking at that. Remember the remake art that we got before, you know, Rebirth was a thing? So just looking up at the sky, and we're like, okay, they're letting us know she ain't getting on the Highwind. But now that they've released this and gone back to the OG and redoing it here, you never know. I would like her to take a ride on the Highwind. But more interestingly, I want to know what you think on everything that I've spoken back to do. Kabam! We're back on the full screen. I thank you for joining me in this video. A lot of talking, so I'm hoping that you've been able to, you know, enjoy a nice coffee, get some house chores done while you've listened to me, and I'm ever so grateful that you took the time to listen to me. I'm very interested to know your comments and thoughts down below. That is me. That is me and my thoughts on that blog post. I am excited for Rebirth. I'm trying to not upload too much content when it comes to Rebirth, but when I do, I'm going to try and make it worthwhile and have some fun with it. I'm excited. So thank you for listening. If you are a fan of the channel and you want more content from me, please consider hitting that subscribe button, liking the video, hitting the notification bell if you want to be notified of my content when it comes out. Get involved in the comment section below. Thank you for watching, and until next time, I'll catch you on the flip side.